I know the frustration you are having with trying to figure out what you need to do at impact. What is the feeling you need to have at impact? You go on YouTube, you have a lesson from a local pro, whatever it might be, they might be telling you, you have to be open at impact. Your chest has to be open at impact. Your hips have to be open at impact. They might be telling you, forget that, you need to be square. You don't need to be open at impact. But what is the feeling for you? Because if you choose the wrong one, when you have certain elements of your golf swing, backswing, or limitations physically, trying to chase one rabbit is just going to lead to frustration. But there's also ways to modify certain things to give you the feeling that is ideal, okay? And I know this is kind of a long intro, but I want to make sure that you understand what we're trying to accomplish here. Because we are going to find, if you do one thing, you might want to try another. If you are doing this other, you need to also do this. Might not make sense, but it will when we get going. Hi, I'm Alex Forte, and this is The Art of Simple Golf, where we're trying to help you understand your game a bit better without complication, so you go out and hit the shots you want more often, all right? So what we're covering very briefly today is, should you be feeling open at impact or closed? Open meaning the chest relative to the target line is open, and the hips are open. I'm going to show you here. Open relative to the target line. So open, hips here, chest here, hands sort of there, open through impact, all right? A very athletic, natural movement, especially if you're sort of throwing or casting something. DJ, I mean, so many top players very much fit this mold, or at least a hybrid of it, all right? But the other option is being a little bit more square, where we're firing the hands, okay? Where we're just sort of thumping the hands into the back, where we're trying to square the shoulders up. The hips are going to be a fraction open just naturally, because we don't necessarily want to be square to square, because that's going to be a very flat-footed sort of non-powerful golf swing. But let's say we want the chest square and the hips a little bit open, and we're just firing the hands a little bit more. I talk about that a lot because I know that helps a lot of you. But here's the thing. Maybe the feeling that you really like is being open through the ball, and that feels athletic. But if you're doing something on the backswing that's going to make it really hard to get there, you're just going to be frustrated again and again and again. So we need to modify it, whether you're a senior golfer or not, whether you're just starting out or not, whether you're a good advanced golfer, okay? We need to understand where we're trying to get to and how to get there easier. And what I mean by this is, so let's say you've been working on something for a while that's give you the sort of longer backswing to get behind it with a bit more free flowing, okay? I've got videos on it. Really, turn the foot out, get behind a little bit easier, a bit more flow, and then swing through. Here's the thing. If you are slow with the lower body and you're not able to kind of either get the hands moving really quickly, right, or clear out the way enough, you're going to end up being really quite sort of flat-footed and just dumping down this way. You just can't catch up enough, and you'll end up doing something like this, all right? So let's say I'm going to exaggerate, all right? So just bear with me. So I'm going to make a big sort of turn loose here, but my lower body is going to stall a little bit. And it's like, man, like I'm making a good backswing, but then I just feel stuck. I can't get through quick enough. It's because you can't, right? Because you've sort of moved too far back. And then you might think, well, I need to get open more. You know, really want to be able to sling it through this way. I want the chest to be open. I want the hips to be open. I'll tell you, if you've made kind of like a long languid and sort of got behind it a lot, to be able to get that full rotation where the chest is open, all right? You know, even this sort of drill, which is great, to kind of get there, all right? That's a long way to go. If we're here, like a full turn, that's a long way to go to rotate, rotate, rotate. So you have to understand that if you feel good about your backswing, you are going to really struggle to rotate and swing through with an open chest, with open hips, especially in sequence. It doesn't mean you can't make a good full rotation backswing. It just means that you have to understand that what your limitations are going to be. So it means that you just have to get a bit more confident and let go of the concept of really sort of swinging through and rotating through that way. Doesn't mean you don't do it at all, but don't try and chase that rabbit, because you'll never quite catch up. All right? So if you feel like your backswing is great, but then you're sort of dumping a lot of shots fat and you don't understand why, and then you think, okay, I need to rotate more, it's perhaps going to get worse and worse and worse. All right? We don't really want that. Is this sounding at all familiar? That you're kind of pinballing from one to another, not quite knowing what to apply? Do I make a big backswing? Do I rotate through? Do I fire the hands? Do I fire the hips? And we end up going from one thing to another and just getting maybe even worse, but frustrated at the very least. And if there is a good day, there's not going to be a second good day. And, you know, the consistency just isn't going to be there, because you're trying to sort of piece a jigsaw that has too many missing pieces, or is reliant on too many things working perfectly to accomplish it. But there is a way to kind of get around it. The point I'm trying to make here is it's fine whichever way you're doing it, but trying to chase something that you either can't do or going to struggle to because of limitations, or by what you're doing on the backswing is going to make it a lot harder. And knowing that is your first step. So yes, making a nice sort of full backswing where we're turning the hips behind, we're allowing lots of flow, and the club can just sort of drop as much as it wants here, all right? Perfectly good. And it can actually generate a lot of speed that way. But don't, if it feels awkward, don't, or if you're hitting bad shots, don't try and spin everything open where you rotate hard, okay? That is good if you can do it, but you don't have to be able to do it. We can be, you know, square at impact relatively this way. We can be that, or we can be much more sort of open in that sense, okay? We can be like that. Either way is good, but knowing which one is right for you is the key. So, what if standing open or getting the chest open really delivers the kind of shots that you want? And you're like, man, but I want that. So let's make it possible, okay? Especially if you're a senior golfer or you've got some limitations, whatever it might be. How do we get open and make it easier on the bodies? We've made a full backswing. What we're going to do is cheat, all right? We're going to move this left foot back, okay? We're going to point both the feet this way a touch. And from now, automatically, it's easier to get open. But it's not just about that setup key. We're going to allow ourselves to still have whatever backswing you want, but we're going to actually not try and make a big sort of turn, okay? We're not going to make a big turn. We're just going to allow the club to sort of go where it wants on the backswing. Because of this setup, you might feel a little bit more restricted. But what we're going to do is stand open through the ball, and just by doing that, by moving the foot back a few inches, by having both the feet pointed like 30 degrees that way, okay, it's going to be a lot easier to get open, get the chest open, and everything sort of matching up. So the hips, the chest, the club. Much easier if we're open this way. Much, much easier. And you might love how that feels. So it doesn't matter what's happening on the backswing so much, but we make this adjustment to get through it, okay? And it's easier on the body. But the thing is, one isn't necessarily better than the other, okay? It just depends on what you are doing. If it doesn't feel right to you to just, try it hard and rotate everything, you can accelerate the hands very fast, very effectively. Just straighten them back that way. But what you cannot do is both, all right? That's where you're going to come into a bit of difficulty, is if you're making a big swing and then trying to sort of rotate through, that's when you're going to come over the top in various shots like this. So you can even practice just making short backswings, even though you're kind of like loading it where you want, and accelerate, but stop, okay? Just see how well you do. If you've got that hand speed to accelerate there, and just see how much you can generate without having to, rotate the body or not. So the point being, whether you're square or closed at impact, okay? Whether you're open at impact, you can still hit very good goal shots, So let's say I want to stand really open, all right? Feels a bit weird for me, but let's say we go here. Feels a little bit like Lee Trevino, didn't register, but there we go. So I can really sort of stand open, accelerate through that way, and I get a nice kind of distance swing. Do I think I get more distance? And if I just fire the hands down and through, can't leave that right a little bit, but no, not really. But understand what you're doing on the backswing is key. If you're trying to make a big long backswing and it's difficult for you, then just shorten the swing and focus more on getting open at impact. And try that cheat of just moving the feet back and allowing everything to get through. If you find that your backswing has plenty of flow to it, okay? And you can get behind quite easily, and that feels good, but getting through it feels a little bit awkward. Maybe don't try and rotate so hard and get the chest open. Just let it be and just get better at that impact where you're accelerating the hands down, okay? Know your swing, know your positives and also the limitations. And you do that, you're going to be in a better spot. It's all about knowing your goal swing much more. So there we have it, okay? If you like the feeling of being open at impact, understand that if you make a long winding backswing, it's going to be harder to do. So if you find difficult being consistency, I would suggest you choose a shorter backswing and get open, right? Or if you like a longer backswing, just allow it to sort of be a shorter through swing where we're just accelerating down, all right? That's it, it's an overview, but hopefully owning that and getting better at those elements will feel right to you, okay? Let me know if you've got any questions and I'll see you next time.